Is this episode number 8? Sheesh. um, you know, I have ideas written down for the next few episodes and whatnot. However, I think I'm going to just go unscripted. I have no idea what this is about. I'm just gonna allow it to flow as I go. For those that are not watching, my son is in the background, and he nibbled on my finger. I've been feeling. I think this is the vulnerability. Time to be vulnerable with the shadows. There are days where I'm just like, I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to continue being this person I am. Not in a depressing or dark way, because let's face it, we all have those days. I have severe depression, I have severe anxiety. I do have those days. I will be vulnerable about that. However, there are other days where I'm just like, I don't want to be perceived. I don't want to see that I'm existing. And it's not like a depressive, I don't want to be perceived. I have my days where I just go mute, and I just need to go off the face of the earth where no one knows that what I'm doing, or I just need to be quiet. I need my alone time. Because if I don't allow that alone time, it does get dark real quick, and I'm like, I have this ugly side of me that comes out, or it's not ugly, it's just the dark shadows that come out, and I'm not a fun person to be around when that does happen, because it happens. And this is where the vulnerability aspect wants to come through, and it's like, for the longest time, I would try to avoid that was existing. And then I would also avoid that was very much alive and thriving in me, right? That I just have those sides where it's not exactly always rainbows and sunshine. Nor would I want it to be, because that means I would be imbalanced, and such is life. I feel we all come to a point in our lives where, maybe not all of us, at least some of us, myself especially, where I would I would act like those parts of me didn't exist. And because of that, because I would avoid it or deny that it was even a part of me, I would then either avoid allowing others to see me like that when I'm at my quote unquote rock bottom, or I wouldn't react, and I would just people please. And when I say that, I'm coming from the perspective where, hey, let's not be reactionary towards people. However, we're allowed to show our emotions, we're allowed to communicate as long as it doesn't bring harm to others, and there is a fine line that sometimes we do cross. We're not going to be perfect. We don't have to be perfectionist about it. It's just seeing it for what it is. Recently, I've come into an opportunity or two, and it's allowing space for other opportunities, and I'm so excited for when this space will expand, because then that will allow the space to be communicated upon. And I feel life has a beautiful way of being like, hey, I actually made a video today that I will be posting tomorrow or the next on my Just With Life account on TikTok. In short words, I speak about, because when I was filmed it, even though it was in the dark, it was sprinkling some. It was like a little drizzle. And with the little drizzle, I was able to channel a message or channel a poetic moment for whoever is going to hear it. And I pretty much spoke about the slow flows of our lives. There are going to be days where we have those drizzles. And upon those drizzles of days, it's not going to be fast-paced like how a storm can be. How sometimes we might want something in the snap of a finger. Or in the quick bolt of a lightning strike, you know? And things they're not always going to be like that. We are all energy. And everything that we interact with is another source of energy. And when it comes to that, we sometimes think that getting from point A to point B of our desires or our desired reality. So say you have short-term goals, short-term desires, right? Sometimes we think that from going to point A to point B is going to be a snap of the finger. And that's why I speak about the slow flows in our lives. Some energies that we are aligning to are just going to be of a slow flow, whereas the other flows are just going to flow even quicker than those slow flows. And a lot of times we get so caught up in the current of what we think we should be going at level-wise, and we think that we're aligned to it level-wise or current-wise, and we don't realize that that is just the current of the rips of our anxiety. And then because of that, we then are hard on ourselves, and we think that we have to punish ourselves or self-destruct or have these behaviors and tendencies where we lash out on others. And this is why I'm being a little vulnerable, is if I don't allow myself that me time, besides like having a day or two towards doing like the house responsibilities that are being accounted for, and if I don't have that just that simple me time here and there, I'm going to lash out. That's when I get into these rip currents of my anxiety, and I'm just like, you know what, fuck all of this, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do any of these responsibilities anymore. And this is being vulnerable. I know we all go through that. It's like, fuck this. For what? And then there's that little voice in my head that kind of gaslights me in the process. Man, you're just far already. You're just gonna quit on yourself. That's such a gaslighting tendency. And I'm like, this is not healthy for either side. Can we have a different approach? And then that's where the actual healthy approach comes in. And I'm just like, hey, let's not gaslight ourselves, right? Let's not gaslight ourselves. Let's not say that we came this far and now what, And let's not give into that unhealthy approach of fuck this shit, I'm out. let's have a healthier approach. And what is that? What is that, you might say? Let's have the approach of just being easy on ourselves and saying, hey, today didn't go as planned. And, yes, I did get this far, but it doesn't mean I can't change the direction I'm going. How can I move forward without gaslighting myself in the process? Or how can I move forward without being harmful of myself in the process? Like, clearly, the behavior that got me to here, the habits that got me here, are not allowing the desired reality for which I'm desiring to flow, because there's something here that's contributing to my feeling this way about myself or about the situation that I'm in. How can we approach it differently? How can we change whatever routine that we're in? Let's just change our mindset, change the scenery for which I am at. And that's why boundaries are important in expressing to people, hey, this is what I'm bringing to the table now. I've got to switch up the routine. This is for me to be able to show up for not only myself, but for the other people in my life right now. And it's like when I am having a hard, really bad mental day, which recently I've had a couple of those. I have to change the scenery for which I am experiencing, and I also have to change the activity for which I am doing. So say I'm watching a movie or something, and then all of a sudden I just get this bad, I start entering this cycle in my head of just being oh my goodness, self-deprecating. Woo, I can't even say it. Self-depreciating? Self-deprecating. I can't say it for the life of my life. Oh my god. Let's just say self-destructive, right? You know what word I'm trying to say. I'm not going to try to say it anymore. We're just going to let it go and flow. I find that I have to turn the movie off and just start doing something. Change whatever activity I'm doing, right? Say I'm watching a movie. All right, let me just get up and go. If there are dishes, wash some dishes. Let me just go sit in a different spot in the house, in the room, in the building, in the outdoors. Let me just change up the scenery, right? Change up the activity that I'm doing, because most times when I do that, I start to feel better. At the end of the day, I had to leave a room. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I need to go. I just gotta leave. This is not for the best of my mental health right now. I am not the best for my mental health right now. So I just got up and I left. And upon doing so, I entered the vehicle. I ended up leaving, and I already felt good from the movement of just leaving the room itself. And I think that's another thing, is when you start doing something out of the ordinary, just changing up the routine for which you're in, it allows the space to, one, clear out the energy that you're feeling right then and there, and it allows you to focus on something else. I always try to say, hey, just start doing something different. It's like you're, quote unquote, tricking your brain into just thinking about something else. It's like when you have anxiety and you find yourself in a panic attack, like myself. I find myself breathing in and out really fast. I'm hyperventilating, and I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. and I just end up staring at something, and I start looking at the colors. I count how many colors there are. If there's a color, like a painting or something. If not, I just start trying to count my breaths as I go. 1, 2, 3. Like, I just try to count. I count whether it's colors, I count whether it's my breaths, whether it's something. Like, how many doors are in the room, openings, windows. If I'm outside, how many fucking leaves are on a certain branch that I'm looking at? How many cars can I count? How many stars are in the night sky? And that usually just it allows my mind to shift into something else. And actually, I want to provide an example. If you ever find yourself feeling like you're lazy and you start beating yourself up, right? Because you feel like you're not doing enough, why are we being hard on ourselves? Sometimes we actually need that rest that our body is desiring in that moment, right? Recently, I went to go move the tractor because I was just like, I just need to move it so that the movement is just moving and it's not still for too long. It's not like, I don't know. Gotta move machinery, like how you move a vehicle here and there if you're not driving it all the time, just to make sure that the vehicle just stays running. And so I did that with the tractor, because in short words, my uncle has been mowing the yard for us, and I'm grateful for that. But I recently I went in the tractor just to move it around, and as soon as I sat on that damn thing, I said to hell with it, and I mowed half of the yard. I don't know what lightning struck me that day, but I was grateful because I got it done. It's funny because it's like, until I actually sat on that tractor, I didn't feel like doing it. I didn't even think about doing it. I didn't say I was going to do it that day. I just sat on the tractor to move it, right? But as soon as I sat on that tractor and I started moving around, I was like, oh my god, let's just mow half of the lawn. Because one, I didn't plan for it. I didn't make it a little bullet list I gotta do of like chores to do, right? I just went and did it because it was spontaneous and I was already on the tractor, and I'm like, you know what? I'm already here. Let's just do it. Can you tell I'm filming this really at a certain time at night? And I'm not gonna be hard on myself. It just is what it is. I've been saying I desire to be a morning person, but like, honestly, my whole life, right? I'm looking at this cutie cat here. My whole life, I don't know, I've always just been a night owl. And it's not like I don't want to try to like desire to be a morning person. I find myself to be more energized at night. It's just is what it is. I was born in the middle of the night, so like I don't know if that's associated with what it is, if that's a science to it. But here we are. We'll see if my habits change. And I know that has to do with my actual desires, so we'll see if I actually desire it or not. If not, I will just go with the flow, Sometimes my best ideas come from the nighttime though, so we'll see what we can see. I don't know, maybe I'm too attached to the nighttime. It is what it is. It's a sleeping schedule too. We'll see. Boop. 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 I'm booping Rocky's nose, everyone. recently I went to the place that I adopted this baby from, and I looked at this cute little kitten, and I'm like, he must be adopted by today. Even if that was like yesterday, right? I went and saw the animals there. Just because I knew I was nearby. And now I'm not really often in that area enough to go by. But yesterday I was for an oil change. And I was like, oh my god, let me just go look. I wasn't really going to go and get a new baby. Because right now, it doesn't really feel like the time for a new baby. I got this baby. But I went there yesterday and I just walked around. And there's this cute little kitten named Gunther that reminded me of this little baby that I had from there. And I'm like, oh, I am so tempted. But right now isn't the time. I want this baby to have a sibling. I do. But I don't know if I want another sibling here while I'm here. So that makes sense. I would love to have another baby in our life. I just feel like right now is not the time. However, I would love for it to be. It just is what it is right now. Plus, I wanted to go see a movie. And I couldn't go see a movie if I was going to adopt a new baby. And I'm not exactly like this. I don't know. I would like to have a new baby in my lifetime. In our lifetime together. Because I feel like this one needs a baby to focus on. You know what I mean? While I focus on this baby. And of course the other baby will get my attention too. This is number one baby though. First baby. And I look forward to when I can have another baby in our lifetime. Because I want to have that shared experience where he has a little sibling, a little baby that he looks after. Because it's not going to be his sibling. It's going to be his baby. I just can feel it. It's going to be his little baby. I keep saying baby a lot. He's just like, shut up. But, I mean, I have a feeling it's going to happen when we least expect it to. And I'm excited for when that does happen. I even looked at the dogs. I thought they were so cute. I would like to have a dog one day. I don't know if I'll have a dog while this one's in my life. If I get another baby with this baby in my life, it's a cat most likely. And we'll see. Maybe 2 other cats I'm getting. At least 1 other cat in this house. Maybe. Even if that. I would love for it. It's just, I don't know. There's a lot of factors that play into it. I just feel like he needs a little sibling so that he's not as alone when I'm away. I don't know. I want to see him have a little sibling. It's just a little desire of me. And it's like, I guess, people with human kids. Like, some parents want their kids to have a sibling. It's how I feel with Rocky. I want him to have a little sibling. He had so much fun when we had a bearded dragon in our lives. He would watch over him, and he would just be like, "This is my lizard." It was the cutest thing. He would just watch over him, and it was so sweet. He was so intrigued by it, and I feel like he deserves that experience of having like another cat in his life that's like a permanent sibling. Because we had roommates once before. We had cat roommates before, and he got along with them for the most part. And the ones that he got along with for the most part, it was sweet because he was just There was a side to him that I'm like, oh, he needs a little sibling. It was so sweet. He had fun with them, and he just loved having companions that he just have nap times with. They would have nap dates, and they would play toys with each other. They would chase each other when they had Zoomy dates as well. Oh my god. But he's the king of the household. No matter who comes in our lives, he's the king of the household. I wouldn't have it any other way. I went and got him a cute little bowl today. The one I really liked is in Indiana still, waiting to be shipped to me, but that's another thing for another day. And if I like waiting for that one to come, I'll just wait for it to come when it comes. I will make sure he has a proper bowl to eat out of, and one of those that are like high off the ground, not on the ground like the metal bowls, because I had that at first. And I was like, no, he needs one of those high bowls so that he doesn't like hurt his neck trying to eat freaking food. And he's one of those cats with a fancy water bowl fountain thing. The other day I was looking at cat scratchers I want to get him. I want him to have the world, man. Shit. I desire to have a certain amount of money just to spoil the animals in my life. The babies in my life, I should say. I'm just watching him. He's the love of my life, y'all. I love that it turned into this. Me talking about my baby. He's so cute. Speaking of animals, I have these desires. Like, I want a little... I would like to have a part of my lifetime dedicated to animals. Whether it's like living on a little farm, like a little sanctuary, like having a little sanctuary, or I desire having the opportunity of raising animals, like fostering them, and then like being able to provide them to homes that are a stable lifestyle for them, and then like even like those wild animal facilities, I don't know, fosterings, I don't know, that sounds cool. And then like I also desire having like cool business ideas where it involves animals with, of course, the backing up of, oh my god, this animal, we're prioritizing the animal's needs and health before the business aspect. Although the animal part is important to the business aspect for which we are doing, if that makes sense. It's like cat cafes. I love cat cafes. They have like cats, like the of course the coffee section, but like it's focused on the cats and having like play dates with cats that are to be adopted. And there are other like animal desires I have when it comes to animal rights and whatnot. Yesterday when I was at the shelter, I saw the people in uniforms that like had to bring the babies in and stuff. Like they find strays and stuff, like animal patrol. And I thought to myself, that's an interesting job. I wonder if I'll ever experience that position. I don't know what made me think about that. It's like when I think about like medical examining, I'm curious if I'll ever like do that in my lifetime. I don't know. It's just certain stuff like that. And it's fun to allow the curiosities to flow however they go. I have a lot of desires, and I'm always curious which one's going to flow into my life as I go. And right now, one of the most strangest desires It's not strange. Let me take that back. It's strange in the way that it's happening because it happened in the way that I least expected it. Two, because growing up, I desired to have a certain income through this route that I'm doing right now. And it's manifested in a way that I wouldn't have predicted it as a child because of how technology has advanced. And I'll speak about it in some time, but for example, I can speak about what I did last year. Growing up, I've always loved the movies and yada yada yada. I always wanted to see the behind the scenes of like movie theaters and what they do to get the movie up and projected, right? I had a movie theater job where I was bussing running and then I was also a bartender, but it gave me access to the behind the scenes. I got to go and look at this big projector room, and it was such a cool experience. I got to see the behind the scenes, and then I got to see the behind the scenes of like what it's like to be a bus runner, like cleaning up the theaters afterwards where the lights are all on, and just having the experience of talking to people that are like excited about the movie, and then they come and tell you what they thought about the movie after the fact when you're bartending for them. It's a very interesting approach. And it's like growing up, I used to joke. I don't know why. As a teenager, I would joke with my first official best friends, as some would say. Shout out to the twins. I love y'all. I would joke with them that growing up, they always be like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Some kids would be like, oh, I just want to be like a firefighter. I want to be a doctor, a lawyer. No, here I come, half joking but also very serious. I'm like, I want to be a stripper. And when I say that, I'm not joking or shaming that lifestyle. I am rooting for that lifestyle. Go get your bag, girl or guy, or they, them. Go get your fucking bag. Please and thank you. And I wonder how that's going to manifest into my life. Am I going to be doing it for entertainment purposes? Is it going to be like an online thing? Is it going to just be through pole dancing classes? I don't know. I just know that the desire is going to come out one day. I just don't know how it's going to happen. That's like the whole movie theater thing. I was like, oh my god, this is part of the desires I had growing up. And I'm currently doing something as one of my childhood desires that I just wouldn't have imagined because of how technology has advanced. And that's why I say what I say about like stripping. I more so love the stripping aspect. I should call it pole dancing. Because I have such admiration, I admire and have such respect for people that do pole dancing. Go get your fucking bag, babe. Go get your fucking bag and be confident about it. Fuck anyone that tries to discriminate about it. They're just jealous. They're jealous that they don't have the confidence. That's all. Amongst other things, they're haters. Let them be haters. We're always gonna have some type of hater up in this bitch. And you know what? Let's just give them something to hate about. At this point, be the motivation. Because deep down, they're passionate about it, whether they would ever admit it or not. Hate is a form of passion. Let them be passionate about how they approach you. Anyways, I'm curious how that's going to, become a part of my reality one day. Like, what's pole dancing going to be like? How's it going to transpire? Because what I'm doing now is its own form of the service industry. And I'll speak more about it when I can. I'm just very excited to have something that's to myself. Only like 1 or 2 people know about it so far. And I'm going to keep it to myself because I don't want anyone to know about it. Really. I just want this one thing to myself without having to talk about it. I like my privacy, And there are just certain things that I'm like, I want to keep this to myself. Those are my boundaries. And I'm excited to see what this little opportunity brings for me. And I'm grateful. Honestly, I feel like this is where we're going to end this video. This episode, number 8, that I was starting off with just being vulnerable, dude. And I realized that it's called boundaries. Okay. We're just going to end it at that. Thank you for watching, as always. Much love to you and your journey. I appreciate ya. Testing 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5. Testing bloopers. How's it going? Boop 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 boop.